Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Brian.
And I'm Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share our thoughts and perspectives on marriage.
We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. Now, let's get right into the show.
Thanks for tuning in. For those, this is your first time, we appreciate you checking us out. If you've been rocking with us for a while, we appreciate you checking in as much as you do. Today, we're going to talk about how we show love as husbands. This can be a lot to unpack. It's just based on being a husband for any time you can understand that. We're going to just talk about how do we show love actively? How should we show love as husband? You know, what love is, and kind of go down that rabbit hole. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and make sure you hit us up on our socials, searching Marriage is Tougher. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and continue the conversation that we're having here or any of our conversations that we've had in any of our episodes. We want to create a community where you guys feel safe to share your experiences and, you know, basically make a community where we can be there for each other, have these conversations, and grow into better husbands. So with that said, let's get into this episode. So, how do we show love as husbands? I don't know if that's a question I'm trying to answer for myself, or maybe I think maybe personally I just feel like I want to get out there and have a discussion about how I'm currently doing that, and maybe how I could be better. And I don't know, maybe I need to have a conversation with my wife about that as well.
Yes, this topic has me immediately reflection and immediately my growth mindset is like, nah, you need to grow in this area. So I think that my wife would agree. We've actually had some conversations about this recently, but I'm here for the conversation.
Yeah. No, so my first thought is, if you feel like you have a shortcoming in this area, does that necessarily mean that, one, you aren't showing love, or two, aren't showing enough, or third, better yet, you may just not be showing it in the ways your wife wants to see it? Right? Because there's a difference between how men show love typically, right? Without having a conversation about it, without talking about the love languages, right? There's a difference between inherently how a man shows love compared to how a woman typically wants to receive it.
For the sake of this conversation, I definitely can concur. I mean, it's a huge generalization, but generally speaking, yes. And that's the beauty of marriage, right? Or any relationship, is figuring out how I can specify life's experiences with this one person and work together to just get through those things. And if we're talking about showing love, you have to figure out how your wife receives love, or receives what she feels love is.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we package it, and deliver it so that she can feel love?
Yeah. Okay. So going off an episode that we just recently had, right? Better Than We Think. What is your best, or one of your best ways of showing love to your wife that she receives well?
Man, I'm running through all the things. I know showing her love is just acknowledging her as a woman, right? The woman that I saw, that, God connected me to, before being a mother, before being even a wife, just being that person that I'm attracted to, that
Mm.
I love all the things about.
Yeah.
Um, just acknowledging that person in her, either it be in conversation, whether it be attention, whether it be just physical touch, like that is, I think, the way that I should do that. Um, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I think physical touch is huge for my wife as well. Um, it's it's funny as I'm reflecting on it. I think before you mentioned that, I probably would have said something different. Just in this moment, I would have said something different. Um, but I think physical touch for my wife is huge, and I'm typically pretty good at that. Right? I'm just a touchy feely type of dude when it comes to my wife, and I'm always trying to touch on her. So I don't think I struggle in that area. While so here's the funny thing about our marriage. While I think the way I prefer to express love is in acts of service, I don't always necessarily hit the mark on the types of service that she would prefer. Right. So that kind of goes back to my original statement, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that we aren't showing love, but can it be perceived that we aren't showing love if it's not the way that they want to receive it?
Right. Is this the best way to show love to her?
Mm,
Right. Not just the best way for me to show love, but is it the best way, or I guess the best way for her to receive love from me?
right. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that makes it a little bit more difficult of a prospect because if you're not having that conversation, right, of how she needs to receive what you want to give her, um, then you could be missing the mark for a long time.
Right.
Right. That's that's a tough thought, man. And so I find myself trying to put myself in my wife's shoes, right? And women are typically very perceptive, right? So she might see you putting in effort in certain areas, have more than likely had a conversation with you, telling you that she's seen that, and then has followed up with, but I need to see this, right?
Right.
You're giving me X, Y, but I also need Z. And sometimes that could come with some hurt feelings,
Yeah.
right? And it could be, I guess, one of a couple things. It could be that you felt that you were doing enough and then got hit with, nope, this is another shortcoming. Or you might just feel like that's not something you know how to do and feel discouraged.
Yes. The encouraging part of that is you have the heart to want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want her to receive the love that you're giving in the best way. Um, and typically, if you come with that approach and say those words. Like, I want to give you the love the way you receive it, but I'm either unsure or I'm working on it. How can I? She will most likely tell you. So that's the encouraging part in my experience. You know, maybe she won't specifically for you, but generally speaking, the wives and the ladies that I speak to or around, if you ask them, they will they will let you know. Now it might get tougher as if you continue to be short or come up short in what they've expressed.
Mhm.
It might be a point of frustration. Like, I already told you this like multiple times. Um, but generally speaking, they'll at least tell you the first couple times for sure.
Yeah. I wonder what if she's unsure about how she wants to receive love or how she best receives love, right? Because I feel like when we're young, both men and women, we might have this idea, uh, probably largely projected from social media or TV or movies, right? On what love should be, and when the picture of a relationship doesn't necessarily reflect that, we may tend to feel like we aren't being loved, right? As we settle into the reality of what life actually is.
Right.
And I know we've talked about this a little bit before, just the quote unquote Disney expectations of relationship, right?
Hmm.
Um, where they don't necessarily show us what the meat of the relationship is, right? There's more or less like, here's an expectation. Good luck hitting it. Right. Um, so off the top of your head, if you could, what do you think we should do as husbands, as couples, to identify what it is that we need or how we receive love?
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you were saying. What if she's unsure about how it it really comes back to taking some time to think about it, right? Because then you can identify, is it really I don't know, or is it I just haven't thought about it yet,
Hmm.
right? Um, and if she really doesn't know, then it's more about those things that you have tried as husband. Like, hey, what about this? Do you like, when I bring you flowers or buy you shoes? Would you rather me just express, my undying affection for you? Would you like me to just hug you and cuddle you or give you a massage, right? All these things. Would you like us to just go hang out, go to the movies and spend some time together? Like, all these different areas that you have tried or ideas that you want to try, just say, hey, like, when I do these, how does that make you feel? Which one gives you the most joy or helps you feel the most appreciated or seen? And then you can start. If she really doesn't know, it's almost like, just trial by fire. Let's try it. Let's try it, try it a lot. And that could be a lot of work, but I think it's a fun challenge. Start doing different things and then have her, keep a journal, take some notes, or just have a conversation. Come back, day, hey, got you those flowers. How did it feel? Or, what do you think about just when we went out to dinner, or, when we went on this walk and we held hands? How did that make you feel? Did you feel loved? Did you, I want to make sure you feel I love you so much, and I want to make sure you feel how much I love you. Those type of things.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's a lot of good ideas there. for my relationship specifically, my wife brought to me the love language book. Right? Was it Five Love Languages?
Hmm.
Um, and that really helped me to explore. I, I want to say my options, right? But it really helped me explore, what I was feeling in certain areas, um, and it helped me better see, well, really just better see my wife.
Hmm.
Right? I come to understand that she receives love in all of those ways, but most certainly has a preference. Right? So,
Right.
and it helped me to understand that, even if I want to deliver on showing her love in a certain manner, while she might understand that's what I'm doing, it's not always going to have the impact that I may want it to have.
Ooh, that's good.
Um, and it helped me to understand that that could almost be selfish, right? Because
Yeah,
if
unpack that.
so, if all right, so it kind of goes back to what we said in another episode, um, giving without expectation, right? There are certain ways in life that I can give to others, right? Or give love to my wife that makes me feel better about it than it does her, right? And as men, right?
Right.
Sometimes that physical touch portion is a way we like to show love.
Hmm.
Um, but that's not always hitting the benchmark for our wives, right? Even when it goes to acts of service, right? For me, the way I show love is by going out and earning, right? But I had to have a conversation with my wife at one point where she was like, "We don't technically need any more money, and now you're just taking your time away from me and the family, and that hurts."
Mm.
Right? And to get that type of feedback when, as a man, I largely define myself as my ability to be an earner, hurt a little bit,
Yeah.
right? So if we've had that conversation and I just keep go and pound away at trying to earn as much as I can, knowing that she's like, that's enough. Like we're fine. That's enough. Then that becomes selfish because I'm serving myself more than her now.
Mm. That part.
Mhm.
That is a great perspective to have. Remember that if we're showing love as husbands, who are we showing love to? And what is our motivation? So it's really a self-reflection dive on us if we're not doing it to give her the biggest impact. I love that you said that. How do we give her the best impact with our love? And good is fine, but that's not. We just don't want to be good. We want to give her the best, um, and it helps our family. It helps our marriage if we give the best. I mean, good is great. Yes, pay attention. Show her attention. Show her that you love her. But what is the best way that she can receive it? And I think I get stuck in that as well because I can be an acts of service guy. Helping around the house. I'm words of affection. I've been working on just being more communicative verbally.
Mhm.
So, and I've always thought very highly of her. So it's easy for me to say how great she is and the attributes that she has that I love. Um, but if she wants solid affection, if she wants solid physical touch, and I'm not touching her, but I'm telling her how great she is, like at some point that's not what she needs. Like these words aren't cuddling her if she wants to be cuddled,
Right.
right? Right? These these words aren't going for a walk if she wants quality time. Like they're good, but they're not the best and they don't serve and give the biggest impact.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Um, I think we're gonna have to wrap up. I want to just apologize quickly because I didn't charge my laptop last night, so I'm almost out of battery. So before this gets cut off, I think we've had a good discussion. I think we've said the word love probably 376 times, but this is the topic at hand. So um, while I'm thinking about it, I want to give a quick thank you to ConversionWorks Media for allowing me to use their studio. I know you can see the sign behind me every week. So I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Frankie for allowing me to use his space um, as I've been here for going on 2 years now. But, they've been gracious hosts. So just wanted to throw that thank you out there. I also want to remind our listeners to link up with us on our socials, searching Marriage is Tougher on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. In those places, if you want to continue the conversation on any of our topics, please do so. And then marriageistougher.com is our website. You can find all of our episodes archived there for a quick listen. Or if you'd like to be a guest, there's a short form for you to fill out where you can just give us a little bit of information about yourself, give us topic ideas, anything of the like. You can do that there. So, anything else you want to add?
Oh, we appreciate you rocking with us and listening, and we'll see you next time.
All right.